I was the only one who helped my sister escape abuse. Now she's back and blaming me for everything. People like to believe they'd do the right thing when it matters. That when the moment comes, when someone they love is in danger, when the world is caving in around them, they would step up, fight, protect. But I learned the hard way that most people do nothing. Most people look away. Most people pretend they don't see the bruises. They ignore the fear in someone's eyes, the trembling hands, the way a voice cracks when saying, "I'm fine." They convince themselves it's not their problem, that it's not their place to intervene. That's exactly what my family did when it came to my sister Olivia. They saw her suffering. They knew. We all knew. Her husband Jake had a reputation, one built on whispered warnings, on the way Olivia flinched at loud noises, on the unexplained injuries she always had excuses for. "I tripped. It's nothing. I'm just clumsy." Lies. Lies she told because she thought she had to, because that was easier than admitting she was trapped. But our family? Instead of helping her, instead of giving a damn, they shrugged it off. Marriage is hard. You have to work through things. It's not our place to get involved. Maybe she's exaggerating. You know how emotional Olivia can be. I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake them and make them understand, because I saw what they refused to acknowledge. I saw how she wasn't the same Olivia anymore. The light in her eyes dimmed, her laugh was quieter, her confidence shattered into something unrecognizable. So, when she finally called me late one night, her voice raw with terror, whispering, "Please, help me," I didn't hesitate. I dropped everything. My job, my savings, my safety. I put it all on the line to pull her out of that house, to make sure she had a chance to rebuild her life. And for a while, I thought I had saved her. I thought I had won. But I was wrong, because Olivia went back. And now, she's acting like I'm the villain. I found out the way you always find out these things, through someone else. Someone who didn't even have the nerve to tell me directly. A cousin casually mentioned it at a family gathering, like it was nothing. "Oh yeah, Olivia and Jake are back together." I guess she realized she overreacted. Overreacted. Like the nights she spent sobbing in my arms were an exaggeration. Like the panic attacks, the bruises, the fear had been something minor, something insignificant. Like the life I had risked everything to pull her out of wasn't real. I barely made it out of that conversation before the anger swallowed me whole. I left the party, drove straight to her place, and when she opened the door, I didn't recognize her anymore. She looked fine. That was the most disturbing part. She wasn't broken or bruised or begging for help. She stood there, arms crossed, eyes hard with something I couldn't understand. "You shouldn't be here," she said, like I was some unwelcome guest. I stared at her, trying to make sense of it. "You went back to him?" She exhaled, rolling her eyes. "I never should have left in the first place." The words physically hurt. "Are you kidding me?" My voice was sharp, barely controlled. "Olivia, you begged me to help you. You told me he was dangerous. You swore you'd never go back." She lifted her chin, defiance flashing in her gaze. "I was upset. You pushed me into leaving before I was ready. I wasn't thinking clearly." My stomach twisted. "Before you were ready. He was hurting you." "Things are different now," she said simply. Like it was that easy. "Different how?" I demanded. Did he promise to change? Did he apologize? Did he suddenly become a completely different person? Silence. That's when I realized. She knew. She knew it was a lie. She knew nothing had changed. But she was still choosing to go back. And somehow I was the one she blamed. "You made everything worse," she accused, her voice cold. "You turned me against him. You made me think I had no other choice." I laughed. Laughed. But it was sharp. Bitter. Hollow. "No, Olivia. I gave you the only choice that would keep you alive." She didn't flinch, didn't react. Instead, she just sighed, like I was an inconvenience she was tired of dealing with. "Look," she said, rubbing her temples. "I don't want to fight, but you need to stop interfering in my life. I'm not your problem anymore." My chest tightened. "So, that's it? I risked everything for you, and now I'm just, what, the bad guy?" She shrugged. Shrugged. Like I had been nothing more than a temporary distraction. And that's when I understood. You can't save people who don't want to be saved. After that, I walked away. Or at least, I tried to. But my family, the same people who had ignored her suffering, suddenly had a lot to say about me. You were too aggressive. You should have let Olivia make her own choices. Maybe if you hadn't rushed her, she wouldn't have gone back. You just love being the hero, don't you? They were rewriting history, turning me into the problem, turning Olivia's suffering into something minor, something small, something that didn't need saving in the first place. And that's when the truth came out. Aunt Lydia let it slip over dinner one night, her voice casual, careless. Well, it's not like we ever really believed her anyway. The room went silent. My blood turned to ice. What? She shrugged. You know Olivia. She exaggerates. She always has. We figured she just liked the attention. I couldn't breathe. The entire time. The entire damn time. They hadn't just ignored her suffering. They had never believed her to begin with. I pushed my chair back, the legs scraping against the floor like a gunshot in the quiet room. You're all disgusting, I said, my voice shaking. You didn't help her because you didn't care, because you didn't think it was real. My mother sighed. Don't be dramatic. I wanted to scream. Instead, I stood. Don't ever speak to me again. And I walked away. Olivia called me once after that, not to apologize, not to make things right, just to tell me that she was happy now, that she and Jake were doing great, that she hoped I could be less selfish and respect her decisions. I didn't respond. I blocked her number. Because I had finally learned the hardest lesson of all. Some people don't want to be saved. Some people will walk back into the fire, even after you've pulled them out. And when they do, you have to let them burn. The silence was the hardest part. After everything, after the late-night phone calls filled with sobs, after the desperate escape plan, after risking everything to get Olivia out, now, there was only silence. She wasn't reaching out. I wasn't reaching out. And my family? They had chosen their side. The same people who had refused to help her, who had ignored her pain, had now decided that I was the problem. I was the one who had gone too far. I was the one who needed to move on and let her live her life. You can't force someone to leave if they don't want to, my mother had said during one of our last conversations, her voice filled with the condescension of someone who had never lifted a finger to help. You made this mess by interfering, my father added, as if Olivia's suffering had been mine to control. They had rewritten the narrative, twisted the truth into something they could live with. To them, Olivia had never really been in danger. I had just been meddling. I had made everything worse. And the more I pulled away from them, the easier it became to see how little they had ever actually cared. Because now, they weren't worried about Olivia. They were worried about how I was making them look. I told myself I was done. I told myself Olivia had made her choice, and I had to live with it. I told myself I wouldn't get pulled back in. But then, 2 months after she had gone back, my phone rang. An unknown number. I almost ignored it. But something in my gut told me to answer. So I did. And the moment I heard Olivia's voice, my stomach twisted into knots. Hey, she said softly, like nothing had happened, like we hadn't been avoiding each other for weeks. I exhaled slowly, gripping the phone. What do you want? She hesitated. I wanted to talk. I clenched my jaw. About what? About how I ruined your life? About how I forced you to leave? Or are you calling to tell me how happy you are now? A pause. Then, barely above a whisper, please don't be like this. I let out a bitter laugh. Be like what? Furious that I nearly destroyed my life for you, and now you act like I'm the villain. She inhaled sharply, and for the first time, I heard it. The crack in her voice. The hesitation. The fear. Something was wrong. I straightened, my grip tightening on the phone. Olivia, I said carefully. What's going on? Silence. Then, so quietly I almost missed it. I can't talk long. My heart pounded. Are you with him right now? A rustling sound. Then a muffled, no. I didn't believe her. Are you okay? I pressed, my voice lower now, trying not to scare her off. A long pause. Then she exhaled shakily. I made a mistake. The words were barely there, but I felt them like a punch to the gut. I closed my eyes, forcing myself to stay calm. Where are you? A sharp bang in the background, a man's voice. Then, just before the line cut out, forget I called. Then nothing. Just dead silence. And in that moment, I knew. She was in danger. Again. And whether she wanted my help or not, I wasn't going to sit back and watch her disappear. I didn't hesitate. I called her back. No answer. I texted. Nothing. I tried calling again and again and again until my fingers ached from gripping the phone too hard. Still nothing. And that's when I knew. I needed answers. And there was only one place to get them. My parents. By the time I reached their house, I was vibrating with frustration. I barely waited for my mother to open the door before pushing my way inside. She sighed. "Oh, what now?" My patience snapped. "Where is Olivia?" I demanded. She blinked. "What?" "She called me," I snapped. "Something's wrong." She sounded scared. "Where? Is she?" My father, lounging in his chair, let out an annoyed grunt. "You're still on about this?" I turned to him, furious. "Yes, I'm still on about this. She's in danger, and all you people have done is sit around pretending nothing is happening." My mother sighed, rubbing her temples. "She's fine." I narrowed my eyes. What does that mean? She crossed her arms. "She and Jake are working things out. You need to stop making drama where there isn't any." I laughed. A sharp, bitter, broken sound. "Oh, right. Because things worked out so well last time, didn't they?" She huffed. "Maybe if you hadn't forced her to leave in the first place, she wouldn't be in this situation." And that's when it hit me. They wanted her to go back. I felt the ground shift beneath me. "You—" My throat tightened. "You pushed her to stay with him, didn't you?" My mother's lips pressed together. My father just shrugged. "It's better than divorce." My stomach dropped. They had never cared about her safety. They had cared about appearances, about keeping the family name clean. They had let her walk back into hell because it was easier. I stared at them, feeling something inside me break. Then I turned and walked out the door. I wasn't wasting another second on them. I had a sister to save. I didn't go home. I didn't sleep. I spent the next 2 days trying to track her down. I called old friends, checked the places she used to love before Jake had stripped away everything that made her her. And then, finally, I got a lead. A mutual friend texted me. "She's at Jake's place. I think something's wrong." My stomach knotted. I could have called the police. I should have. But I knew Olivia. If I called the cops, she'd lie. Say everything was fine. Say I was overreacting. She needed to see me. So I got in my car and drove like a crazy man, the streetlights blurring into streaks of gold and white as I tore through the city. My grip on the wheel was so tight my knuckles ached, but I barely felt it. My mind was somewhere else, spinning with everything Olivia had said, everything she hadn't said. I made a mistake. Forget I called. I couldn't forget. I wouldn't forget. She was in trouble, and this time, whether she wanted my help or not, she was getting it. Jake's house stood like a prison, dark, looming, the windows covered by heavy curtains. Nothing about it looked like a home. I parked down the street, scanning the driveway. His car was there. She was here. I didn't waste time knocking. I went straight for the door. Pounded. "Olivia?" Silence. I banged harder. "Open the door!" Still nothing. And then, from inside, movement. A shadow in the window. Then the door cracked open, and Jake stood there, smirking, like he had already won. "Should have figured you'd show up," he drawled, leaning against the doorframe like he didn't have a single worry in the world. "You always think you know what's best for Olivia, don't you?" I clenched my fists. "Where is she?" His smile widened. "Sleeping. She doesn't want to see you." Bullshit. I took a step forward. "Move." He didn't budge. "It's our house, our life. You're not part of it anymore." A slow, deep rage burned through my veins. "Olivia!" I shouted, stepping past him into the house. That's when I heard it. A muffled noise, small, weak. I followed the sound, ignoring Jake's protests, shoving past him until I reached the bedroom. And then I saw her, sitting on the bed, eyes red, face pale. She wasn't fine. She had never been fine, and she knew it. Her eyes flicked up to mine, and in that instant, I saw everything. The exhaustion, the shame, the regret, but mostly, the fear. Jake's voice was suddenly at my back. "She doesn't want to go with you." I turned slowly, and I really looked at him, at the way his jaw tightened, his fingers twitching at his sides, at the way his confidence cracked just a little now that I was standing between him and her. He was a coward, a pathetic, miserable coward, who only felt powerful when he was breaking someone else. I smiled, and then I hit him. My fist connected with his face, sending him staggering back, his shock delicious. "Olivia," I said, my voice calm, unwavering. "Get up. We're leaving." She hesitated. Too long. Jake recovered, eyes wild now, furious. "You think she's yours to save?" he spat, wiping blood from his lip. "She came back to me. She chose me." I turned to her. "Is that true?" She didn't answer, didn't move. And my heart broke, because even now, even with the bruises, even with the fear, she was hesitating, still trapped. "You think you can keep her?" I asked Jake, my voice dangerously quiet. He sneered. "She doesn't belong to you." I smiled again. "No, but she doesn't belong to you either." Then I pulled out my phone, and I called the cops. The police arrived fast, too fast for Jake to cover anything up. The moment they stepped inside, Olivia changed. Her voice dropped to that quiet, terrified tone, the same voice she had used the first time she begged me for help. She told them everything, every slap, every threat, every night she spent afraid to breathe wrong. And as they put Jake in handcuffs, I saw it, the way his bravado shattered. The coward exposed for what he really was. He spat at Olivia as they dragged him away. "You'll come back. You always come back." But this time, she wouldn't. I should have felt victorious. I should have felt relieved. But as I sat with Olivia in the police station, watching her stare blankly at the floor, all I felt was tired. She wasn't thanking me. She wasn't crying. She just existed, like she wasn't sure who she was anymore. And maybe she wasn't. "Are you mad?" she asked after a long silence. I exhaled slowly. "No. Even after everything?" I looked at her, really looked at her. She was shattered, but she was here, alive, and that was enough. "For a while," I admitted, "I hated you for going back." She flinched. "But now?" I shook my head. "Now I just want you to be free." She swallowed hard. "I don't know how to be." I reached over, squeezing her hand. "Then we figure it out. Together." She didn't answer right away. But then, a slow nod, a silent promise. And this time, I believed her. Because this time, she was ready. I cut off my family that night. All of them. I didn't answer their calls, didn't respond to their texts. They had let her suffer. They had wanted her to stay with him. They had never cared. So I erased them. And Olivia? She never asked me to change my mind. She never begged me to give them a second chance. Because she knew, just like I did. They weren't family anymore. They were just people we used to know. It took time. Months of therapy, sleepless nights, days where she wanted to give up. But she didn't. She found her voice again. She found herself again. And one day, as we sat outside on a warm summer evening, she looked at me and said, "Thank you." I shook my head. "You don't have to thank me." She smiled, a real smile, and said softly, "I feel free."